Welcome back, guys, and let's now build our first user-defined function. Before doing this in Matlab, let's see what are the conditions and how to build this function. In fact, guys, the first line of any user-defined function should be like this line here. So first of all, you should know that any function has certain inputs and certain outputs. These inputs could be one input and these outputs could be one output, and in some cases I can have a function that doesn't have any output. We'll see this example later on. So basically, guys, a function has a certain number of inputs and a certain number of outputs. The input variables should be, of course, given by the user. So I should give this function some input in order to compute the output, the desired output that I need to see or I need to have in my script and to use it later on. So as you can see here, guys, the first line will forever be in this format. I have a function, then I should define what is the name of the variable that I need it to be as my output, or what are the names of variables as outputs. And then here, guys, I should define the name of this function. So what is the name of the function that you want to use in your script? Let's say you need to find the area of a certain shape. So you should, for example, use area as your function name. Now, what are the input variables that you have to define, you have to take from the user in order to compute your output? This is the first line of the function, and this line has certain conditions. First of all, the function name should be the same as the file name in which it is saved. For example, if you name your function a drop, you should save this function in a file called drop using the same name. If it is big D, you should save it in a file called big D drop. If it is small d, you should save it in a file called drop with a small d. So guys, you should have the same name of the file, or the file should have the same name of the function. In fact, guys, whenever you save a function, by default, Matlab will give you the same name of the function. So Matlab will give this file the same name of the function. If you change it, you will have an error later on when you run your script. Now, how to use this function? In fact, whenever you build your function, you save it in your folder, then you can call this function. We say call and not run. And you will see the difference now. You have to call this function in your script by typing its name and all the inputs. Now, guys, before choosing any function name, make sure that this function name does not exist in your folder. How to do this? Like we did for the script in the previous video, we should use exist. So if exist has an answer that is different than 0, this means that this function name already exists in your current folder. Now, if exist has a 0 answer, this means that you can go ahead and use this function name. It is not available in your current folder. Alright, so these are some conditions, and then we will see how I can use my function inside my script. The first very simple function that we'll be doing now is the volume. So assume, guys, that you have to find the volume of a cube, and you have a lot of widths, heights, and lengths. So you need to find the volume of different cubes of different dimensions. So if I need to do this with a script, okay, so let's do this in a script and see how can I save time and memory if I do this using a function. Alright, so I'm gonna open a new script. In this script, basically, it will calculate the volume of, let's say, 10 cubes. The height of the cubes, okay, let's say for 4 cubes of different dimensions. So assume that cube 1 has a height 1 of 1, width of 1, length of 1. Cube 2 has, of course guys, you don't have to write all these percentages because they are basically comments for you to know what are the heights, and you can write them on your Scratch and then use them inside the script. H2, let's say 2, W2 1, and L2 1, and then the third cube H3 4, let's say W2, W3 3, and L3 2, okay? And C4 has an H4, a height of, let's say, 5, a width of 3, and length of 1. Alright? So I need to find the volume of these cubes using a script. Okay, so I'm gonna start my script by CSC clear all, and then I'm gonna say volume, or I have to define, let's say H1 is 1, W1 is 1, L1 is 1. As long as you are using a semicolon, you can put them at the same line. And then volume, let's say vol1 is equal to H1 times W1 times L1. So this is the first cube volume. Now I'm going to define the second dimensions, let's say H2 2, W2, so I'm copying them from before, is 1, and L3 is 1. And then guys, I have to define volume 2 as also the multiplication of H2, W2, L2. And of course guys, what you can do is to define all these variables first and then find their volume. So let's do this. Okay, so I'm going to define all my variables first. Okay, so here let's say, and now H3, so let's copy this. Of course with the semicolon. Okay, and then H4. Okay, and then volume 2 is their multiplication, and volume 3 is also their multiplication, and volume 4 is also their multiplication. Okay, and then I can run my script. Let's say volume script. So I have undefined L2, yes, of course, because I'm using L3 twice. So this is basically L2. Let's run it again. I have undefined variable called L4, so of course this is L4. Alright, I'm gonna run it again. So guys, you can have a lot of errors and adjust them directly. So basically this is my workspace. Now all these lengths and height are defined here with my with the answers of the volume. Alright? So I can do this, and if I have 10 cubes, I should do the multiplication 10 times. Now what if I want to define a function, and this function can find the volume of a cube by giving it all the dimensions of this cube? So how to do this?